Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Switch. My name is Jordan, and I'm here with
Johanna.
And Jada.
Have you ever worn something you didn't even like just because everyone else was wearing it? Or laughed at a joke you didn't even think was funny just so you wouldn't feel awkward?
Absolutely. Yes. I used to wear those Adidas sweatpants in middle school.
But it's okay. So, as y'all can see, if you have, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about how the need to belong drives human behavior and the social norms and the social influence behind this. In other words, how our desire to fit in shapes the way we think, act, and even how we see ourselves. Psychology shows us that many of our choices are influenced by our need for acceptance. In this episode, we'll explain why belonging matters so much, how it affects our behavior, and how it creates social pressure and norms. So let's get into it.
Okay, I'll kick it off. So, this is a two-parter. How does the need to belong theory show up in our daily college lives and on social media?
Definitely with trips. I feel like a lot of people mimic trips. For example, let's say Miami. Everybody goes to Miami. Everybody does the same thing in Miami. It's like, what?
Now it's Houston.
Exactly. Spring break. Everybody's going to Houston.
I'm gonna say, I feel like this theory, it shows up, well, I can see it in our campus, especially with the younger classes, because I feel like after the COVID era of Central phased out and the Greek Bowl was open for homecoming, and some of our students started to go viral on TikTok, we had an influx of students like saying, "Oh, I want to go to Central because I saw it on TikTok," or "Oh, this isn't how it looked on Instagram," or all those viral TikToks. So I think that that's like a more specific example that's catered to our university because we deal with a lot of people saying, "Well, it looked better online than here," because they didn't do their research
Right.
on social media.
Like that Greek bowl. Everybody sees the Greek bowl. Not everybody wants to come. So I feel like your question, it kind of ties back to in our psychology. So what is the need to belong? That's the main concept of your question. Psychologists call this the belongingness motivation. It means that humans have a deep emotional need to feel connected, accepted, and valued by others. A famous psychologist that we could talk about is Maslow. He created the theory of the hierarchy of needs. He said that after basic needs, of course, like food, safety, like we were talking about, feeling paranoid, how we all live alone, is the need to feel accepted and loved by others. Relationships are needed to be okay in life. So you know how we all say like, "Oh, I like people,"
Yeah.
or "I want to be alone." Like I don't care. That's not true.
Our bodies generally crave to be like in a relationship with certain people.
Do you guys feel like it's better to fit in and feel accepted, or stand out and risk being judged? And which one would you choose, and why would you choose that?
This idea of the second part sounds good. Like the idea of being your own individual person and risk being judged. Like that sounds good. But I feel like we're all so conditioned to be like worried about what the next person is thinking about when it comes to yourself. And so that's why I'm saying like it sounds good to have the idea of like, oh, I don't care what nobody says about me. I don't care. But like I feel like there's a very small handful of people who genuinely do not care for real. Like I feel like deep down everybody does care about what the next person is saying or thinking.
And I think we're also still like the college age, the average college age student, we're still in adolescence and we're phasing towards the end of it. So our frontal lobes are starting to develop. They aren't fully developed till after we graduate. So I think sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be different. That kind of, in a sense, we end up being the same.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of y'all. If I had to choose, I definitely would just fit in and feel accepted. I think I'm somebody who tends to be like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, but like it's just like a trauma response.
How do you know when you are in a space where you belong?
I feel like I don't overthink as much and my body's way more relaxed. So I'm just able to just think of what you say in the moment and I just have a response rather than having something like set in my mind. Then I feel like that's when I know I'm really comfortable and like my body's able to relax.
I definitely agree. Like when I'm in a state of just like calmness, it kind of sounds cliche, but like when I feel like I can go to sleep around you, like that's when I'm kind of like in a sense because there's another psychologist that we've learned about throughout our duration, Leary, but he talks about how self esteem works like a social monitor. So when we feel accepted, our self esteem goes up. So kind of like what we all just talked about. When we're in a space of that calmness or feeling like the person around us wants to be there or wants us to be there, it's almost like adrenaline rush of, okay, I can be me. Or, oh, I can do what I need to do and not worry about being judged or looked at like, what's going on. We talked about college, being on campus, and then when you step off that campus, how does it affect who you are in your real life?
When they go home after being in college, then they put on their facade or they put back on their facade. When they're at school, they're actually able to be themselves
Okay.
because they aren't able to they conform when they're at home. And at school, they're able to show more of themselves.
I can see that too. Like feeling judged in their home state or home area.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
Like piggyback off of that, like a lot of people, like even I don't want to say because this is not what I did personally, but I do know like people who like are from other states, so they have no ties to where they're at. Like I'm from Minnesota, I got no ties to North Carolina. Nobody here knew me until I made myself known.
Yeah.
And it's almost just like people have this mindset of like they can almost create who they want to be when they are in the school setting, and then when they go back home they're back to their original self. Time in college is almost seen as like temporary to some people. Like you can go home anytime. Like college, once you've done in your 4 years, you're typically not going to come back to the campus and not see the same people that you see every day. So people are really trying to build like a character, like it's a video game or something.
So I have a question. Do you think constantly adapting to fit in strengthens social skills or it slowly weakens our sense of self?
For me, I think it's kind of like in between. So I think constantly learning how to like fit in and make yourself adjust to different groups allows you to learn how to code switch in different like situations. But if you're not being true to who you are you ever really like 100% yourself? Am I being me or am I trying to be y'all? You know what I mean? Um, so I definitely think it has like its pros and its cons because, of course, anytime you're in a room with different types of people, you're sharpening those skills because you're not going to be in a room with the same. But on the other hand, you're kind of shying away from hopefully the person that you're trying to build yourself up to be. Especially once you get to that age, kind of where we are now, like this pivotal time where you're now at the point where you can make all your own decisions of who you want to be.
My answer is like simple. I just feel like it can almost be both. You can still learn and develop the skills on how to talk to people, but it's also just like at the same time, people might fall into like a repeating cycle of that. But at the end of the day, it's also just like in order to learn how to have conversations with people, you have to talk to people. It's a never ending like circle. That's how I feel.
I feel like you need to have some sense of security in yourself and you have to be comfortable with who you are as a person and what you present. Adapting can also be like a survival tactic. Like if you work in a really like high paced industry, you need to adapt and you need to learn how to talk to different people and fit in different rooms. But that doesn't mean you need to lose who you are as a person.
I feel like you're a good example of this, like because you always say like I just love how Jada gets me. I feel like when I met you, you also like didn't change that. Like not to say like you were rude when I first met you, but it's also just like you very much came across as the type of person like
Straightforward.
yeah, like you're really straightforward and you really like to like joke, but you hide your jokes in your straightforwardness. Like you're trying to be funny, but like you're also just being so serious at the same time, and that's like kind of why I feel like I'm able because you're just like
People be always like, "Oh, she's mean, she's mean." I'm not. People just don't like the truth. But it comes from like dealing with so many fake people. So I just pride myself on not being fake. Like you're just gonna get what you get, and you can like it or you can hate it. Because I love people, but people don't be good people.
Yeah.
that part.
Like I have here, nobody gives us a rule book, but we learn by being ourselves, by watching others. We follow all of these norms because we just undeniably we don't want to stand out as much as we think we want to stand out. So if we can dive into peer pressure and conformity, things like that, and just saying things that we don't believe, or even talking about people in a bad way when we don't necessarily really feel like that about those people.
I feel like it's almost like a subconscious thing where it's just like, because I'll admit it, I definitely skip class yesterday. I didn't go to my 9:25. Skipped class, but it's also just like I felt okay with skipping class because I know there was going to be other people who skipped class. And then by the end of the day, I ended up being right. This girl was like, "What did we talk about in this class today?" And I'm like, "Oh, I wasn't there." She's like, "Oh, I wasn't there either." So it's almost just like I knew deep down that it was okay for me to skip because I wouldn't be the only one to skip.
When I used to have Wednesday classes before I really made my own schedule with the advisor, I hated having Wednesday classes because, like, okay, I would have a 2 o'clock class. Oh, I'm gonna go to the calf before it's 1:45. The calf is jumping. The chicken's great. I'm like, really? I gotta leave in 5 minutes to walk all the way to the Greek bowl for class. So I really want to go. Other people aren't going to class. Why do I need to go to class?
Right.
Like, I could miss one class. It's fine. Specifically, the Thursday afternoon classes, and there would be a party. I used to be in class like, should I walk out early? Should I just not go to class? Like, should I like wait 15 minutes or wait? He just walked out 30 minutes before class ended, and I know he's gonna be at the party. So should I walk because he's going? Especially being a younger person in college, that was something that I used to like struggle with.
Especially going back, like looking at like freshman year, because like I was the same way. Me and my homegirl, we used to all the time, and it was like we would influence each other. And granted, it's not a great thing to influence your friends on to not go to class or leave class early, but it's also just like it's only English. Like
You know the phrase that I feel like has our generation really stuck?
Please get degrees.
No, do it for the plot.
Yeah,
That one.
They love do it for the plot or YOLO college one.
Yes or no? In the group chat. Yes or no? Don't
With
ask me
no
what.
context.
Yes or no?
Don't ask no question.
Yes or
Yes
no?
or no. I feel like we do tend to put ourselves in that position just because we are so worried about everything that's going on outside of the classroom.
But I feel like even with drinking, like for spring fling and homecoming, peer pressure gets really, really bad. And people make a lot of decisions that they wouldn't do. And it's kind of on the do it for the plot. You know, people, they'll do drinking games or like drinking challenges with their friends just because, well, it's spring fling, so we might as well do it. Everyone else is doing it. And I've seen it really prevalent, specifically on Central's campus. When you're homecoming, the alumni be the worst ones.
Really?
The absolute worst ones. So be like, why y'all not having a good time?
Mhm.
Right? You know,
Who said I'm not having a good time?
I feel like all this stuff, like even on Fizz, it's like who's going to this party? Everybody, and it's the poll, and it's like 400 people saying yes and 100 people saying no. It's just like, oh my god, 400 people going to this party. Like I need to be there.
It's
Like
Not because we thought about it, but because somebody else told us to think about it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole psychological thing behind it. Like tying it back to psychology, those mechanisms, like the projecting. I think projecting is probably like one of the biggest things that come out of what we're talking about with our topic. Like you were just saying, like people commenting, people saying things, even when like your friends are whispering things in your ear about maybe your boyfriend or another one of your friends. Like it's not necessarily a peer pressure, but it's definitely an influence.
Yeah, it's gonna get in your brain somehow.
And it's stitched. So, have you guys ever stayed quiet about something that you guys disagreed about that had to do with conflict? And do you think it was the right choice in that moment?
Yeah, I think sometimes when I get into conflicts, I think sometimes in general, like I have certain thoughts that like I might get canceled for. So like me and my sister, we always say we can never be famous. So I just choose to stay quiet and like, I'm not gonna start the pot. I'm gonna just stay right here and watch.
piggybacking off of that, like, because me and my homegirl, we picked up this thing where it's just like instead of just like saying something in response to something we hear or see and like just watching what we say, we just say noted. Because like we're storing that in our brains, but it's just like interesting.
Me and my friends, we do that too, but we just don't say anything. Like if we're all out at like a lounge or something, I'll just look and be like, y'all heard that? But I have some friends, like I have this one homeboy, he's really like messy. That's just the best way to say it. He's really messy. So instead of looking, he'll look and then he'll look at his phone and text our group chat. And then just to make sure we're all on one accord, like we end up saying it, then it's like we're the mean group.
Right.
So it's like you're just not gonna say nothing.
I've already been like titled as like the mean girl, so I'm really big on like saying what I feel. But there has been times, especially relationships, like situation where I have definitely conformed, or I found myself feeling a certain way about something, but I'd be like, you know what, like I'm not even gonna bring it up. I've been in situations, especially with like men, where I should have said something, but I didn't. So maybe it wasn't the right choice in that moment not to, because maybe the outcome of the whole situation could have been different if I would have checked something.
I agree, because I'll say in like one of my most recent like relationships, that was something that I did. Like I thought that I was considering the person's feelings when really I was diminishing my own by not saying anything and not wanting to stir the pot. When it just became a problem that kind of was building slowly over time, and then that was the reason why we just stopped dealing with each other overall.
See, I'm the opposite. Just seeing like how my parents were, seeing how like my dad would talk to my mom. I promise you, no man will ever talk to me like that. Like I promise you that. And then also just like hearing how my dad would talk to me and my brother and just stuff like that. And it's just like, if I can go toe to toe with my dad, I promise you, I'm not scared of no boy in my face. Like I'm not scared. And it's just like, if I have an issue with something, I will bring it up, especially to a man. I don't want to say like I like bursting that, but I like making sure that they know they're not gonna walk all over me.
It's satisfying though, and their ego is so huge at times.
And it's just like, I feel like just because I know like if I can sit there and I'm telling my own dad what he's doing wrong, who am I to not say that to somebody else who I'm not have no any relation to? Like,
I had to learn the hard way.
Me too.
I feel like that is how it is for a lot of girls, especially girls our age too. It's just like you have to learn the hard way because it's almost like women really try to find the benefit of the doubt in everybody.
Well, but if it does tie back to our topic.
I was just about to say that.
I was going to say, a lot of the times we're peer pressured by like our family, our friends. Like, oh, you have a good man, you need to keep him. So like, if you see that, oh, he likes girls that are quiet or girls that just allow certain things, you're going to be pressured to allow certain things or be quiet because you want to keep this good man.
Yeah.
So,
and then like we were talking about earlier, tying it back to Maslow and the hierarchy of needs, where he talks about after food and safety, for most humans, the natural nature is to want that love and that belonging. Like she was saying, because even if we talk about social media influence, so many girls put up with so many things from men because they see their favorite celebrity putting up with stuff from men.
Like Valentine's Day?
Yes. Or thinking because a man showers you with gifts that you're supposed to deal with it. Right. You know what I mean? So that's a social influence or a social norm. Or even with relationships, how girls think like, oh, we went through so much, so this is why we should win because we've been through so much. But when did the standard become having to go through a lot to be with somebody?
And I think it's also our music that we listen to as well. Like I feel like rap and hip hop, it's kind of put out a certain vibe of what we think love should be like. We're conditioned to the music that we've been hearing. We're hearing Future, we're hearing Chris Brown, we're hearing Mariah the Scientist, where we need to struggle for love. Ups and downs are normal in every relationship, right? But ups and downs don't mean domestic violence, cheating.
It don't mean 5, 6, 7 babies.
Yeah, like we're normalizing a lot of things that should not be normalized. And I think that also ties back to some of our family structures too. Because some people's grandparents, they had 2 families on the other sides of town. But we were conditioned not to talk about it.
And like you said, that's just really what's being put into our hearts and our brains. And
it's right inside all the way back into what we're talking about, the social influence and the social norms. They see all these rappers, gang, shoot it up, do this, do that. So that's what they do. So I think that from our conversation, we can all agree that belonging without losing yourself is the end all be all, right?
Absolutely.
Today we learned that humans are wired to connect, that we need relationships, we need acceptance, and we need belonging. And because of this, we feel peer pressure, social norms, we change ourselves, and we even seek validation. So, as we leave you guys today, the goal is to belong, again, without sacrificing who you are, and to always ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or am I doing it because I'm afraid not to? Thank you for listening to our podcast. Again, my name is Jordan.
I'm Johanna.
And I'm Jada.
And we are The Switch.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.